Welcome, everyone. This is the Rotary E-Club of Silicon Valley. Every week, we are bringing you stories of people around the world who improve their communities in ways small and large, and they bring ideas about how the world can be built around themes that we love: entrepreneurship, innovation, and education. As Rotarians, 1.2 million people around the world who are dedicated to service above self, that's in 36,000 clubs. We celebrate what people can do to see their potential to make life better for others. So today we are going to be hearing from Haby Barry. She is an artist and a designer and an entrepreneur, and she is going to tell us all about the work she has been doing, bringing together her experiences as an entrepreneur, but also her history and her culture as a first-generation American, looking back at the possibilities for what it means to bring those two aspects of her life together, and we are excited to hear from her. We're going to start with a little video story that will introduce her all the better. So with that, here we go.
I launched Fulaba over 4 years ago to bring high-quality, authentic Fulani earrings and bracelets along with the story to market in a beautiful way. I'm first-generation American and I'm Fulani. The Fulani are a tribe of people who live across sub-Saharan Africa, from Senegal to Sudan and now the globe. My parents immigrated to the US from Guinea, West Africa. Conakry, the capital of Guinea, is a port city. It's vibrant, it's colorful, with beautiful landscapes, and it's full of life. It's also where our jewelry is handcrafted by local artisans. We envision building a large-scale production facility to employ dozens of artisans and train youth so that this precious craft is preserved. We started with the Fulani jewelry tradition because of my heritage. However, our goal has always been to go beyond and feature jewelry from the royalty and nobility of other African tribes and political empires. After years of preparation, now is the time for us to relaunch Fulaba, preserving more African jewelry traditions, uncovering rich history, and innovating to bring you authentic African jewelry that represents African high culture. Join us on this journey of African high culture and help the world to know and revere the richness of this incredible history. We will have new jewelry pieces from the royalty and nobility of the Wolof and Tukulur tribes in Senegal, and we have begun plans to design hair jewelry. Coinciding with the relaunch of Fulaba, we're collaboratively releasing the Women of the African Diaspora photo book. The book features beautiful ordinary women in Guinea, Paris, and Oakland, California, wearing modern looks of traditional fabrics from the continent, along with Fulaba jewelry. When we make our goal, we will donate 5% of all proceeds to benefit youth education in Guinea, where literacy rates are one of the lowest in the globe. We can do better, and we will with your support. Thank you.
All right, an exciting start to the story. So Haby, we hand it over to you.
Hi, thank you. That was like the extended video version, but that's okay. It got to show a little bit about the Women of the African Diaspora photography book. That was the video that I produced for our Indiegogo campaign, which we launched last year, the end of October. And it was to help with the production of that book, Women of the African Diaspora, which I'll talk about a little later. So a friend once told me that being an entrepreneur is like jumping out of a plane and figuring out your parachute midair. When I started, I did not know what I was building exactly, and I definitely did not have it all figured out. I started with one product, our gold dipped Fulani earrings. And I had no experience in jewelry, although I am a creative business professional. I've worked in the music industry, in advertising and media, and in marketing. So how it came about was I used to wear an old pair of brass Fulani earrings that I got from Harlem. And in San Francisco, people would always stop me and compliment me on them and ask me about them. And after dozens of compliments, I kind of just had this aha moment like, I can get a better version of these earrings made. And I'm Fulani, this is my culture. I can really present it in a beautiful way, particularly with my marketing and branding experience. So I did some research just to make sure that no one was really owning the space. And I saw that no one was. And I worked with my aunt in Conakry, Guinea, who was the one who found the artisans that produced some samples that I was really happy with. And I wanted to make it a point to use precious metals because the history was that Fulani women wore this jewelry in solid gold as a sign of wealth and nobility. So all of our pieces are made with precious metals. It's either solid sterling silver or copper, brass material plated in 22 or 23 karat gold. So along my entrepreneurship journey, I learned that you really learn by doing, and especially by making mistakes. I didn't have this whole like business plan and everything like down to a T. I just did, and I learned by doing. And something interesting is a mistake became a product. So we worked with a couple artisans, and I received some product that just wasn't plated very well. You could see the copper. It just like, I wasn't happy with it. It wasn't something that I was going to sell as is, but I didn't want to send it back 7,000 miles to Conakry to like get it fixed. So I found someone locally in Oakland who did gold plating work, and he uses 23 karat gold. And so I thought to myself, maybe I can make a version that has more gold of using this 23 karat gold plating. So I developed the gold plated Fulani earrings, which have 15 to 20% gold content. So you're getting closer to that original, traditional, solid gold Fulani earrings. And a little over 2 years later, this product was featured in Essence, gold plated Fulani earrings. And also the key thing about doing is getting in front of people and showing them this product. I started with only the gold dipped Fulani earrings and then expanded to the gold plated, and had the feedback to produce more because people were asking about different sizes and different metals. And so we introduced that, and we also introduced the traditional Fulani bracelet. And customer feedback actually brought ideas for brand new products like the Fulani inspired cuff bracelet, because, and that's what Afra's wearing, because these earrings that I'm wearing are the large version, the gold dipped Fulani earrings large version. And some people thought that they were bracelets and they were actually trying to wear them. And I was like, oh no, you're gonna hurt yourself, because these edges can like be a little, sharp. And so, and then even someone was like, oh, this would be so cool if it was a cuff. So I looked into, basically taking this design and putting it on a cuff. And that was born. And another key aspect of my entrepreneurial journey that I learned is that patience truly pays off. I gifted Alicia Keys our gold dipped Fulani earrings because I have a relationship with a woman that was part of her management team. And it was actually her idea. She was like, oh, why don't we just send her a pair? And, we'll see. I don't know what will happen. And so I sent it. And I also included a handwritten note. And that was that. And then 2 years later, a friend of mine messages me like, this looks like your earrings. It was a video post that Alicia Keys published on Instagram commemorating the anniversary of her album, her favorite album, The Diary of Alicia Keys. and she was wearing the earrings and she was playing on the piano, like straight profile and purple background. She was wearing white. I mean, she did everything to call out the brand without officially calling us out, because I obviously did not have the budget to have an endorsement by her. So that was pretty amazing to see that. And I was like, yeah, those are our earrings. And I definitely used that clip as part of our, press and traction. Um, and along with that, in my journey, I've also learned that consistency and perseverance are really important. In April of 2018, I had a meeting with the jewelry buyers at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. And it was a great meeting. They purchased a sample from us, our gold dipped Fulani earring small version. And from that point, I periodically followed up with them and stayed in touch. They were not ready to bring me on. I mean, there was at one point the government shut down, that affected them and their budgets. And then at another point, it just they just weren't bringing in new vendors at all. And then there was COVID that hit, but finally, kind of out of nowhere, because I hadn't recently been following up with them, they reached out to me in March of this year and asked me to become a vendor, and they were ready to place their first order. And they've since made another order and are planning to make another one. So we're really building that relationship. And it took like 3 years, but it's happening. So being consistent and persevering are really important in entrepreneurship. So as I continue to create and do, the legacy that I'm building is becoming more and more clear. And my why is becoming more apparent, and my vision is expanding. So I want to talk a little bit about Women of the African Diaspora, which is a collaborative project that I started and worked with my co-director, co-author, Haby Barry, to make happen. And I just had a feeling that I wanted to really showcase women of the African diaspora who are embracing their origins, no matter where they are, and work with local designers to showcase modern looks of traditional African fabrics, as well as the Fulani jewelry. So here is the book right here. So this woman, her name is Khadija. I actually met her at my uncle's house in Conakry. She was a neighbor, and I saw her and I was like, I think she would be great for this project, So most of the women featured are not professional models. They're just ordinary women who we found to be really just, compassionate and beautiful people inside out. And we wanted to share their stories. And we worked with local designers in Conakry, and also a local makeup artist. And we did shoots in different areas, bringing like the natural beauty into the shots, the natural beauty of the landscape, as well as the women and the clothing and the jewelry, of course. So we started with the shoots in Guinea, and then we did shoots in Oakland, California, where I was living at the time. And we really looked at the murals and did a lot of shoots in front of the murals. I selected which ones, and also in the gardens, again, bringing that natural beauty into the shots. And then our final shoots were in Paris, France. And last year, we worked on the story. So really developing the story of each of these women and the writing, introducing each chapter. We talk about Guinea as the origin, and we talk about how women were integral in the independence of Guinea. We talk about the diaspora in America, the diaspora in France, and we also worked with female African-American artists for original pieces to introduce these chapters. So I'm really proud of this work, and it represents the why behind Fulaba, celebrating the elegance of African women and women around the globe, encouraging us to be the best version of ourselves and hold ourselves high and support each other throughout the globe, and really just hold ourselves high, celebrate African high culture. That's the why behind my jewelry. And I've been expanding the collections, as you saw in the clip. We now work with artisans in Dakar, Senegal. I'm wearing some of it, the new Tukulur collection, the necklace and bracelet, which is my favorite too. And I am working on designing more pieces, hair jewelry, like I mentioned, and continuing to share this rich history to preserve African jewelry tradition and help the world to know and revere this beautiful, incredible culture, and also innovating from it so that we have modern looks. But what I like to do and how I like to think of my jewelry is creating pieces that are truly timeless and versatile. So I am daring to step into my power and no longer holding back. And this is designing your blueprint while building a legacy. Thank you.
That is wonderful, Haby. Thank you so much for the presentation. I know we're going to get some questions from the group about the work that you've done and your experiences. And so I want to take a minute real quick and introduce the people we have on the recording. So we have two guests of the club, friends of the E-Club of Silicon Valley, as we like to say. Chanel Reed in Atlanta. Right.
Hello.
Cool, good to have you. And Melissa Ige in Hawaii. All right, mahalo for joining us, for sure. From our club, we have Armand Kambu, who is from Cameroon. All right, thank you for being here. He's here in San Jose. We have up in the Upper East Bay, we have Shags Chagrin, all right, our paella master. And one of our newest members, Afra Abdullah. All right, she is with us, and she is modeling the story that we were talking about as well. My name is Rushton. It is a pleasure to have you here. So Afra, why don't you start us off with the questions?
Well, first, thank you, Haby, for joining us, for sharing your beautiful story. You know how much I appreciate your voice, your story, this entrepreneurial journey you've been on through ups and downs. So thank you for being here. I'm wearing one of your original pieces, the Fulaba cuff, but you did talk about the new direction you're going in with the jewelry and kind of the inspiration for the new pieces. Can you talk more about that, like this lovely necklace you're wearing, and like how that kind of formed?
Yeah, sure. So like I mentioned, I started literally with one product, the gold Fulani earrings. I'm Fulani, and this is a traditional jewelry design that has been around for centuries. Women wore them in solid gold as a sign of wealth and nobility. And there are so many other royal families and nobility of different tribes and political empires that also had traditional jewelry. So I want to showcase that as well. And it's history that's not very well known. It's pre-colonial history that's been kind of hidden and just lost. And I got connected with an artisan in Dakar who comes from a family of jewelers. And, his father was a jeweler, grandfather, great-grandfather. So he knows about the tradition and the families that wore these pieces. So this is the Tukulur people who are essentially, they're like the Fulani of Senegal, but they have mixture with the Serer and Wolof people. And the king of that empire, his wife wore this jewelry in solid gold. And so I also have the Wolof jewelry. So the last king of Senegal, his mother wore those traditional pieces in solid gold. So in every piece that you purchase from Fulaba, you will get a little square card that has the history on the back about where it comes from. And the Fulani inspired cuff bracelet that you're wearing, Afra, was something that I designed, like I mentioned, because people really love the twist of the Fulani earring and they wanted to wear it as a bracelet. So I designed a way to do that. So it's not like, hurting your wrist, so the cuff makes it safe to wear that. And yeah, and so even like with this necklace and cuff bracelet, I designed a earring cuff that is just essentially, it's like this, but much smaller, that you wear on your ear. And that's pretty cool. Like I launched a silver version of it with Pinterest last month. So they actually reached out to us because they liked our work, their editors, and they wanted me to be a part of their campaign called The Goods to promote like shopping on Pinterest. So yeah.
Thanks.
Melissa, you have a question. Go ahead and unmute.
Yes, you just touched on a little bit of what I had a question about, but I'm just curious or fascinated. Do you have any stories about some of the artisans, or what was the process to find the different artisans to represent the company?
Yeah, so I started, like I said, in Conakry. My aunt, she lives there and is well connected. She works in markets and stuff. And so she went and found jewelers there, and not all jewelers know how to make this. Like I said, it's kind of lost, and that's part of our mission, is to preserve this jewelry tradition. So the first artisan she found, I didn't like their production, and then the second one, he really knew how to make it and did a good job. And so and then we found someone else as well to work with. And so essentially these artisans, they make jewelry, they just haven't been making this kind of jewelry because it's kind of not it's not as popular as it once was. And yeah, I mean, we just found them by like through my aunt networking and in the marketplace and testing it out. And the artisan in Dakar, actually a woman who is a fashion designer, introduced me to her. To him. She's from Senegal. She's from Dakar. And she was like, yeah, he's the best. And people like have, good experiences with him. And yeah, and he's been excellent to work with. And his father, knew about all the history of the jewelry, and he talked with his father to get the information so that I could share it with each jewelry piece, essentially.
Well, thanks, Melissa. Question through the chat from Chanel. She was mentioning that that you talked about being an essence in the magazine, and also the connection with Alicia Keys. And entrepreneurially speaking, did that pay off for you in terms of really increased sales, increased awareness? How did that work out?
Yeah, so Essence actually, it was a classmate of mine from NYU who knew an editor at Essence, and he mentioned to her my business because they were wanting to highlight Black-owned businesses for the holidays. And so he told her about Fulaba, and that's how they reached out to me. And I sent them a couple samples because they actually wanted to see the product, and they took photos and returned it. and included it in the magazine. And so how it worked was 1 year they had it in the magazine, and the next year they had it on their website. And I noticed that the website was what helped with sales because I guess, in the magazine, like people see it and they're like, oh, okay, and they just put it down. But on the website, you can just click through and purchase right away. So that definitely made a difference. And with the Alicia Keys, like I said, I used to work in the music industry in New York, and I had a relationship, still do, with the vice president of the management company that Alicia Keys, was managed by for many years, for most of her career, actually. She only recently moved on from them. So I was meeting with her, and I was just catching up with her and letting her know about what I was doing and this jewelry. And she presented it to me like, oh, I can get it to her. I mean, no guarantees. She gets a lot of gifts, but I think it would be nice. You could write a little handwritten note and I'll make sure it gets to her. And I was like, okay. So I did. And yeah, it took her a while, but nonetheless, she did it, and it was amazing. And I definitely think that catches it catches people's eye. Like, it definitely makes an impact. She's an A-list celebrity. It means something. Like I said, she didn't officially call us out. There's kind of protocols around that. She can't do that unless I'm like paying her. So, but she did the best that she could, and I think it definitely makes an impact, and people take notice. So I can't quantify exactly how it translated to sales, but it definitely has social proof and proof of traction.
Nice. Armand, you have a question.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for the presentation, though. I really like the jewelry, and I have two questions. And the first one is, do you speak French?
Yes, I do.
Oh, good. Yes, I'm asking because I might want to reach out to you to see if you can like talk to some of these producers like back in Cote d'Ivoire. I mean, we have something that we're building, and sometimes we have events like Zoom events and stuff like that. So
yeah, that would be awesome. I would love that. I want to visit Cote d'Ivoire. I was in Senegal and Guinea this year, and unfortunately I couldn't visit Cote d'Ivoire because of COVID. They only had residents, entry limited to residents and citizens, but that's definitely on my radar to visit Cote d'Ivoire.
And then they have a lot of great artists too. They have the jewelry there is they're pretty unique. They have some very good pieces.
Yeah, exactly. I want to work with artisans there too. Absolutely.
Good.
I would love to. Yeah.
Okay, so so the other question I have, so I'm glad that you speak French and then you have interest in some of the like Cote d'Ivoire, because we have a small project there which is like building. I mean, we're building like a marketplace for like the like local arts and local production and different things like in food and all this stuff. So I'm going to have an occasion maybe to share that with you in the future. So what I would like to know, though, what are the challenges like producing all these in Africa and bringing them to sell here? I'm sure that, I mean, you go through certain hoops to be able to make that happen.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Like right now, trying to balance and figure out scaling production, wanting to make sure that there's consistency and quality and predictability in the timing, right? That's the challenge. Like, a lot of times things take longer than you anticipate, and then trying to basically find more people to train so that we can build a team and be able to produce the volume that is going to be necessary when we have more bigger clients like the Smithsonian, and as we really increase our own web traffic and retail sales. So it's like a delicate balance. Like, I don't want to produce a bunch of stuff and be holding a lot of inventory, but then I don't want to be behind when like the Smithsonian needs something and I need to produce. So it's definitely a balancing act, and it does come with challenges. And with the silver jewelry, like I have to bring that in, not through DHL because they don't allow it. So that has its challenges too. And as I want to expand into fine jewelry and do solid gold, gold is expensive. So like finding a way to really show that product availability and build that demand, and not have to like produce until I have those orders, I guess. So, and then also effectively marketing, because we are a small company and I don't have like a lot of budget to do things. Luckily, I am a marketer and I have experience in digital marketing, so I don't need to hire an agency to do the work. I am more than capable of doing it myself and have had successful online campaigns. But it's still a challenge finding the consistency of sales, particularly with a limited marketing budget. So yeah, just trying to find the balance between earned media, paid media, and organically building a community and audience around African high culture, essentially.
Thanks. Thank you.
Last question for you before we finish up. You mentioned the Indiegogo campaign that 5% of the proceeds go towards a literacy project. Is that something that has developed to the point where you can tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so the organization that we donated to is called WAFRICA, Women of Africa, and I did get to go to their headquarters in Conakry when I was there in March. And it's an organization that's dedicated to human rights education and development literacy, particularly for women and girls, but also youth. And she told me a little bit about how they were using the funds, and it had to do with a education program that they were doing for both boys and girls. And I think something else was like cleaning up, something to do with like the environment. Actually, I have to go back and just look at my notes, but it's a wonderful organization. They're helping women entrepreneurs. They're helping young girls to really understand their human rights, and also educating youth and providing after school programs and community building so that they become more productive citizens.
Well, wonderful. The story is an amazing one, Haby, and we are really honored to have had you share it with us. I will wind things down, but before we finish, I'll hand it back to you for a final word for our viewers. But all of you who have joined us this week for this program, and hopefully our meeting as well, you've had a chance to see the inspirational video and the messages from our members, and the World of Rotary piece, and the Happy and Sad dollars, and all the different things that we do. Perhaps you even learned something new along the way. What our goal is to have you experience each week that energy and that inspiration that comes from hearing about how people are making interesting things happen for others all over the world. And we hope you will do several things for us. First, that you will let us know you were here. There, just a little farther down the page, you should see an attendance form, and in doing that, you'll get an email that you can share with your club secretary if you're a Rotarian having an interest in making up a missed meeting. And then a little farther yet down the page, you'll see the discuss forum where you can tell us what you think of what you learned in this program and the other parts of our meeting as well. You can reply to the messages of others there. That is one of the ways that we interact with each other, and we hope you will do so as well. And then finally, just keep coming back. We even have a Friends of the E-Club group that we let know about the different programs that we record. And that's how we were lucky enough to get Chanel and Melissa as a part of our group today. And we hope that you will take an interest in that. You can always contact us through our site in order to be part of that. Haby, I hand it back to you for a final word.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great, and I hope that you took some inspiration, some advice. I really wanted to basically share that entrepreneurship is about doing, and you don't really know where you're going to end up until you just go for it. So just go for it. Designing as you go. Thank you.
Wonderful. Everyone, we will see you next week.